Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. And in the studio with me today, I have none other but Dr. Cheryl Clayton Molino, motivational speaker for Turnaround Visions. And also joining me in the studio is David Corby. He's from Union of Minority Neighborhoods in Boston. Lady and gent, sorry. Thank you both for joining me here today on Living in the 21st Century. And I'm sure we can have an enlightening time concerning how you are changing communities and people, young people especially, amongst diversities,
Right.
one day at a time.
Right.
Thank you both. So first, Dr. Molino, I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
What is your Turnaround Visions all about, and how are you impacting lives today?
Okay. Turnaround Vision is a very interesting and very successful organization. And what Turnaround Vision is, I go out and I motivate youth. That's my niche, motivating youth. And I have a passion for it. So what we go out, mainly what I do, I go out into the school system, go out into church, communities, all different clubs, and motivate youth that they can be who they want to be. They don't have to settle for less. You know, so many times, when there have someone telling them what they cannot do or what they can't be, who they can't become, it becomes embedded within their minds. But my job and my focus is to go out and tell them, look, anytime somebody plants some negative in your mind, you need to pluck it out, because you can become that leader, that teacher, or that lawyer, or a doctor, whomever you want to be. So that's what Turnaround Vision is all about, going out saving young people's lives, because today so many are getting caught up in the wrong area. So I'm excited about it.
Great. Well, tell me a little bit more though. You're on the path of greatness in terms of motivating young people to change their lives and accomplish the best they can. But in today's time and season, where there's so many economic restrictions, there are young people who want to go and study their best, become maybe a doctor, but when they look at the kind of loans and fees they have to pay in colleges, only to recognize that when they graduate the best, it seems to me the higher the degree they get, the less they get paid for it. And in some cases, they don't even want to get hired because companies are now saying you're too educated.
Right.
And hence, they're taking those jobs overseas for people who are more ill-educated and paying them next thing to nothing.
Yeah.
And here you have a starved job market. How would you recommend those kind of people to really look past these obstacles and find a way out of accomplishing financial success in these harsh economic times? What would be your advice to that person?
Well, what I'll tell any young person, especially those young people coming out of college, because I've been there, done that. You know, when a lot of people think once you graduate from college, oh, you're going to jump in and get that great job making all this money. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. And when it does not work that way, you just can't stop, because we may have to take that job making $8, $9, $10 an hour with a PhD degree. But it's just a step to where you're going. Main thing is not giving up. I don't care how long it takes sometimes. It's just a stepping stone. You know, it takes steps. You have to crawl before you walk for some people. And a lot of researching. You need to get out and research, because, you know, it may not be a job in your vicinity. You may have to move outside of your local area and to find a job. And as far as finding the loans to go to school, there again, it takes research, because there's money out there, but you have to do research. Go into the library, or even before you go to college, go to a financial aid counselor. Sit down with that person and tell them, you know, find out what revenues or what resources out there so you can start doing it. But it's going to take lead work. You just can't sit and just want it to come. It takes lead work. You're going to have to do a lot of researching. But yeah, you're just patient and just keeping the right mindset.
Beautiful. Well, David, I recognize you're from Union of Minority Neighborhoods, and you are impacting through organizing. You are organizing in your community. Could you really elaborate on that and tell me really how you are impacting and really changing lives, or how your institution that you represent are really impacting society today?
Well, yes. So the Union Minority Neighborhoods is a nonprofit Black advocacy organization within Boston, and basically we like to impact change on the social level and also on the political level. So on the social level, we meet with the community, we get to know the people. We have different programs that enrich professionals, Black young professionals from the ages of 20 to 35, and help them network. And it really is just about building the next generation and training the next generation of community organizers, because community organizing is not necessarily a position that everyone's going to have and can like make a job from it. But I think if you learn the lessons of the community organizer, you'll be way better off than you were before, because you'll know how to engage with your community, how to uplift people, how to really address issues that are plaguing your community, and really just how to engage everybody. Because I really think that the more you engage people in your community, the better, because it's like we all need to come together. This is a democracy. We live in a democracy, and I think those principles are very important, not only in DC, but also just anywhere.
Okay.
So
well, I'm glad you're on that topic. And Dr. Molino, you can jump in at this point if you need to, but here's this question to you. Why it is that the young Black generation, so to speak, most of the young men in some cases pursue the avenue of trying to take the shortcuts out of life opposed to going the hard way? The question is it because there is a plateau or a certain level that only a few Black people in community will be able to reach, despite of where they are going or what their aspirations are? Why do you think that many of them choose to take the shortcut?
well, I mean, obviously the shortcut is like present, it's there in your face, and it's appetizing because it's almost like you don't really have to put too much effort into it and really go beyond yourself. But I think within the hard way, it's almost like you're able to build yourself and become an independent person, independent thinker, and really just, I guess, just build yourself up to whatever path you want to be.
Right.
And I think like I said, with community organizers, it's like we need to be there, we need to be present, and I think like the older generation needs to look out for the younger generation to say like, this is another way you can go, this is a way that you can build yourself up and be the best person you can be and really give back and contribute to your community.
Right.
And I just want to say, and I think it's short-lived, as he was saying, it's just temporary. You know, when they try to find the easy way out or the quick way out, most of the time it's short-lived. So if you're really true about your passion or something you want to do, you'll put the time and effort in it. And if it take a year, if it take 2 years to get to that point, it's worth it, better than taking the shortcut and the short-lived. So I agree with David.
Yeah, and I just think that you really can't learn about who you are if you take the short way. And it's so temporary that it's like you're not actually fulfilling your destiny as a human being.
Well, that is neatly said, but something tells me that even when you, as a minority person, not only here in the U.S., but in several other countries too, when you pursue the long way, which is the right path, and doing things, not excluding drugs and gun buying and all these type of things, and you decide to go to school, learn well, get a great education, but then when you get in the workplace, you find there are some barriers there set for you, and we're going to utilize the best of your talent. And these corporate organizations are going to make it out of your talent, but you're not going to get reward good enough for it. And I think this is the problem that society and this nation face today. Isn't that many Black communities out there who are consistently, whether they are harassed by the police or whatever the case may be, it isn't that these people don't want to uplift themselves or do things that are good and be a good productive citizen. But if the system doesn't put things in place or structures in place to enable you to accomplish those goals, then you are forced by nature to take the shortcut. This world we live in is a jungle. You understand? And in the jungle, you're going to find the prey, and you're going to find the hunter, and you're going to find the prey. And that can apply to any diversity, any culture, any person. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're white, black, Chinese, Japanese, you name it. When the odds are stacked against you, it's human nature to devise ways, legal or illegal, to survive and live the next day. Unfortunately, the law doesn't represent those ways that you're going to take, even though some people within the parameters of those laws can break those laws, and the word is like, do as I say but not as I do. So what is your expertise on this? What would you have to say on this?
Well, that's a good question, but I'm just going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to minorities, especially blacks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we can have the highest degree there is,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times you won't get recognized for it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, you can apply for a job
Mm-hmm.
that you know you qualify for, and sometimes because you are black,
Mm-hmm.
you may not get that job.
Mm-hmm.
But to take the shortcut,
Mm-hmm.
you know, two wrongs don't make a right.
Mm-hmm.
So just because that door closed because of someone not liking you because of your color, you can't let that stop you. You got to move forward. And if that next door closed, you got to continue to move on. And I know that's hard to accept or hard to see it that way. And you're right, a lot of our young blacks are taking the short way because they have tried and tried and tried and hasn't succeeded. But the main thing is, two wrongs don't make it. Just because they don't see or don't recognize the knowledge that you have, don't let it stop you. You got to continue to move forward. Keep the right mindset. Don't let no one cut you short of what you have. I have a doctorate degree. And if I apply for a job and I can't get it, I can't stop there because I know who I am. I know what I have inside. I am a smart black woman and I know what I can do. So I'm not going to let that person deny me of what I am and what I can do. I'm just going to move forward because it's their laws. So I'm just going to move forward. Taking the shortcut, I wouldn't, but you're right. There's a lot of blacks, a lot of minorities, a lot of people that do that, and it's.
Do you think, though, that black leadership today, those leaders in society that's supposed to reach the pinnacle to some levels, really made the pathway clear or to really open doors for other minorities to survive? And I ask this question because I remember clearly when the president had came into to power on his first time, the first words that came out of his mouth was, and he said this to the black people, do not look for any special treatment. You understand? And I was appalled when I heard that because this is not to pinpoint or to speak out specifically against any race. I embrace the white as well as I embrace the black. I have family who are white, so let me make that absolutely clear. But I was somewhat appalled when he said, do not look for no special treatment. Black people had never ever got any special treatment in this country, period. From a way back from slavery. You understand? They had never get any kind of special treatment. And the system is rigged. And I must give Donald Trump some credit, no? The system is really rigged. It may not be rigged against him, but it's rigged against black people. And for black people, really get it. And it doesn't matter what level and what office you possess. There are certain guidelines there that are going to keep you in check. And when you refuse to stay in check, you're going to get put out. It's simple as that. So we still have black folks in this country who are operating as second class, second rate citizens. You understand? And I think the time had come where we all has to stand in unity, embrace each other, and I say this many times. We have to love each other. And the problem is, I don't find the complications among the everyday blacks and everyday whites. We're learning to get along in harmony. I see it every single day. It's in the workplace. It's all around us. We are getting along well. But when you look from the highest hierarchy down to the lowest hierarchy of the governmental system, there is always something there that tells us, keep these people separated, segment them. And this is what causing complications. From the moment the politicians bark, or the political bulldogs bark, the little chihuahuas come out and bark also, and stirs confusion up among us all. We are in the 21st century. We need each other. And I'll share this poem with you. There's a poet, a Jamaican poet. He once said these words. And I read this as a kid, 11 years old at school, in a book called Biting One. And the poet said, I can't remember his name. I think his name was George Lamin. I think that was his name. And he said, no man is an island. No man stands alone. Each man joy is joy to me. Each man grief is my own. We need one another, so I shall defend each man as my brother and each man as my friend. I covered that piece of poetry for a lot of reasons. When I look around in our society, I see beauty in color, I see in diversity, I see in origin, I see in culture. We all as a people need to embrace it. But we have to start in a way where we can bring each other together as a unit in our communities and fight against rules and regulations. If the senators don't represent us, get them out. If the people who we put there, the mayors don't stand up for you or her, for you, put them out or put her out. It's simple as that. Don't let them think that they're more than you. They need you and you need them, but they have to represent you. This system has to change. And I hope that this time around in the political election around that, we all do something significantly that, or the leaders rather, do change their minds from what they did in the past, but see that we need each other to be a strong nation, that we can operate as one and accomplish the goals that we need to. But I'm doing a little bit too much talking, so I'm here to interview you. But I got carried away. So David, tell me something. How are you impacting the young people's life today? Because this is important. What groups you have going on? What are you doing for your organization every day as you go to your duties? How are you impacting them?
Well, I mentioned earlier that we have this program called the Rai Fellowship, which basically gets a group of youth or young black professionals from 20 to 35. And really, we have classes for a 9-month period, and we meet every third and fourth Saturday. And it's really just kind of like educating them about their history, educating them about, I don't know, the racial wealth gap within Boston, which is considered the highest in the country, actually. And just kind of like being with them, growing with them. If they need that extra push to go into the next professional landscape, you know, we help them, we introduce them, we network with them. And really, the next step would be to actually engage with more of the younger people, of the high schoolers, the middle schoolers, and really figure out a way how to engage with them. So definitely collaborating with you would definitely be a great thing, because we need more people like you who can really invigorate the youth.
And one thing too is that, and I find it, I did a study on high school dropouts. That was one of the things that, since I've been up here, that I've seen a lot of that, and it's just amazing how many students choose to drop out of school, and for the reasons they are dropping out. You know, this is something that can be addressed at the school level. But I found that there are two social support that all students need. And it's emotional and instrumental. And they need the emotion because you wouldn't believe how many students don't get what they need at home, or they don't have that emotional attachment. So they come to school, and a lot of times I did a presentation at one of the schools here in New England, and one of the things that the teacher told me was that her students, they need to have more confidence in themselves because they don't. They don't have. They come to school for love. They come to school for that emotional attachment, and then instrumental. You know, she was saying that how the school, the teachers have come together. Not only do they teach the students, but they help the students when it comes to bus fares or meals or even clothing. They help the students in that way, and a lot of the students, believe it or not, they need that. And if the community would come together, it take a village to raise a child, and that's still true today. But I totally agree with David said. You know, it's going to take all that to come together to raise a child. But can I go back to something you mentioned earlier? You mentioned about that the president mentioned that he was not about the blacks. Well, I just want to say that, you know, in order to, if you want the world to change, the change starts within that person first.
Okay.
So, you know, we asking the government, the president, you know, you said you you was appalled by the comment he made, but I think, and you know, I'm not disagreeing, I'm just giving my, but I think when he made that comment, it didn't mean that, okay, I'm a black president, so don't think you're going to get everything the way you want it. I don't think it meant that way. I think what he was saying is that, okay, I'm the president for all, not just one group.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I just wanted to say that. I just think he meant.
well, I didn't even go as far as thinking he meant for all, because I know the presidency and the office of the presidency
but he just didn't,
it's for all. But why pick out one segment? That's what I was concerned, not because he was black.
Well,
I don't think he should have uttered it in the first place.
Well, let's be fair, you know, because this is our first black president, and a lot of blacks probably thought, okay, you know, we have our first black president, so you know, things may start changing. You know, we may get more, you know, attention because he's black. So I think it was important for him to say that, not to say I'm not going to help. When he helped the world, it's all, not just black or white or Asian or Hispanic. It's all. So I think they needed to know that.
Okay.
But he didn't mean it the way I think a lot of people took it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to ask you though, there's this gentleman. His name is Michael Smith. He helped pioneer the Boston Carnival Village, and it's really a sight to see that every year for some decades now that this village were going on, and it brings cultural diversity so strong, of all race, all in such a harmonic way. Is there a way, from a motivational speaker and also a community organizer, that you think having such an activity, you all can inject something in there that can form the nucleus of not just a two-day festival, but actually harness that atmosphere cohesively, that diversity and cultural growth among others, other cultures, can really start operate as one system? Do you think that is possible?
Sure, I do. Because like I said earlier, it takes a village, and it takes people from all sides of the community. Yes, it's possible. Motivational, being inspiring others to succeed. Yes, it is. And with what David is doing, and you put it together with motivational speaking, you put it together with people from the social from the social component of it, and from the instrumental component of it, yes, it is possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing that we're trying to do is to get everybody, different cultures and different ethnicities of the African diaspora, to come together and just sit down with each other and just talk about issues that they're going through, and just kind of like build that network. Because I think not only is Boston kind of segmented racially, but I think even within the African diaspora, we are segmented because of whatever reason. We just, I guess, separation. We just feel like there's such a huge difference that we can't like bridge that gap. But I think what we're really trying to do is really just get people in one place and just get the leaders of each community and just have them kind of talk with each other, and then just really build for the future.
That's brilliant. It seems complicated, it seems complex, with over 162 different languages spoken in Boston. I think unofficially 184. But you know, the first mile start with the first step, I think is a positive dimension that you're heading into. And I'm really proud that we as black people could really make our impact in community and continue to educate each other. And David, I want to thank you for coming here today and enlightening us on what Union of Neighborhood
Minority neighborhoods.
Right. I really thank you that you could come here and really enlighten us to what's really going on. And Dr. Cheryl Molino, it's a pleasure. It's the second time meeting you. It's really a pleasure getting to meet you. And I think you're really doing an impactful thing amongst the black community. The beauty about it, based on what I've seen, is not only the black community, but you're speaking to all cultures, all races, and that's beautiful. Because we all need each other.
That's right.
And we can't go astray because one may think they are more than the other. We all need each other if we succeed and survive in this 21st century. Well, once again, I want to thank you both for joining me here on Living in the 21st Century. We have concluded and come to the end of our program, and I hope that this won't be the last time, but at some time in the near future we can get together again. So to all those who are at home, I want to thank you for tuning in once again on Living in the 21st Century. I'm Elford saying, have a nice night. Goodbye.
Time to wake up. I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Don't forget, you've got a job to do today.
Hey, Mom. I got the job. Thanks.
I've got the job. Welcome aboard.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.